Okay, let's invite our panelists, our previous speakers for this session to join us at the podium. And we're also going to introduce an additional panelist, Karen Bengston, who is a Supervisory Regulatory Health Project Manager within the Office of Research and Standards at the Office of Generic Drugs. So we will do like we did this morning. And I know that, I did this quite unwittingly, but let's restrict ourselves to one question per person in-house. If you have more than one question, please feel free to go back to the back of the line. Should we have an opportunity, you'll get to ask that question. And we'll do mic 1, mic 2, assuming somebody's going to come up to mic 1 and 2. I know we had a lot of, I was speaking with people during lunch who had questions on controlled correspondence. Please come to the mic with your questions, anything through this session. And then we'll do in-house 1, 2, and then go back to online. Now, I know we have more than one person in the room with questions. Please come up to the mic. Let's get some energy here. We have put so much into this meeting. All our over almost 40 speakers, planning and everything for you. We've done it for you. This is the opportunity for you to ask those questions of our SMEs. This is the opportunity for you to get clarification on anything that we spoke about that has been bothering you, that you need clarification on. Please take this opportunity to ask your questions. This is what we do. This is why we do it. We do it for you and this opportunity. I'm begging you to do it. Okay, let's start. Let's start over here for a change. Mic 1, in-house.
Hi, I have a question for the presenters of controlled correspondences. In case where we have controlled correspondences questions for dosage forms which are different from the RLD, even though the final dispensing form is similar to the RLD, are we granted to submit a controlled correspondence, or do we need to go for a suitability petition? Or can we discuss it on a teleconference before we submit a CC?
Just to clarify, is your question whether you can come in if you're not clear on the submission pathway? Sorry, whether it's a 505(b)(2) or an ANDA? Is that the question?
It's an ANDA, yeah.
Oh, it's definitely an ANDA.
Yeah.
Do we need to repeat the question? Yeah. Can you repeat the question, please?
So I'll just give you an example. One would be a ready-to-use injection, and the RLD would be like a lyophilized vial for injection, even though they're different dosage forms, but the dispensing form would be an injection. So in this case, can we still submit a controlled correspondence, or does it have to go through a suitability petition route?
You mean the dosage form is different for the RLD and the ANDA? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the RLD is like lyophilized powder for injection, but and the ANDA, proposed ANDA, would be like a ready-to-use injection. But eventually, it's dispensed as an injection.
So that could be submitted as a control.
It could be. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mic 2, please.
This is for the IID assessment of the excipient. Generally, as per the guidelines, says that for the topical drug product, we have to do IID assessment by comparing percentage weight by volume or percentage weight by weight. But nowadays, I can see MD maximum daily exposure available for those excipients which are used in the topical drug products. So do we need to consider MDE, or still percentage weight by weight is the option?
Yeah, I think in general, we still go with weight by weight or weight by volume. But for some drug products, we do go with MDE for topical products.
Oh, so some product means, is it related to the API? Is it specific to API or some dosage form kind?
Yeah, so I mean, so if in the controls you request us to evaluate MDE, then we will go with MDE. So that's general practice, I think. So, yeah. Go ahead.
She doesn't seem convinced.
Okay. Thank you for the question. I think our current thinking is please submit as a percentage W by W. There are certain excipients which are concerns. So just from a conservative perspective, we do look at the amount perspective, but our current thinking is we are evaluating based on the percentage W by W or percentage W by V.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go online for a question, please.
All right, this question is for Karen. A PSG issued for a drug recommending in vitro BE study, later to be found by the sponsor during the clinical feasibility that it might take longer than expected. In such cases, would the agency be open to discussing alternative in vitro study suggestions under the product development meeting type?
So thank you for the question. So if you're suggesting a study that's an in vitro study that's different than the study that's in the PSG and it's an alternative approach, there's a couple ways you could go. If it's within the same study type, you could also submit a control correspondence that the PSG is already posted. However, you could also consider a meeting, and FDA will take into consideration whether, as Maria mentioned in her presentation, there's several factors we take into consideration, whether the questions can be addressed in a control correspondence, whether the product is complex. So all of those things will be taken into consideration and determine whether it should be granted or denied.
Thank you. Anyone else in the house, please come to the microphones while we go to mic 2.
Hello, and thank you all for your presentations. A question that we kind of deal with often is that you mentioned that in the frequently asked questions regarding fully packaging of a batch. But what does FDA advise for a dose proportional product where multiple strengths are manufactured from one master blend and there may be multiple packaging configurations? What is considered in that case a fully packaged lot?
Repeat the question for me one more time.
Absolutely. So when there's a dose proportional product, so there's a master blend that is then, compressed into different strength tablets. So multiple are manufactured from one master blend, and there's possibly, multiple packaging configurations, maybe blisters and bottles. What is considered a fully packaged lot in that case?
So one of the exhibit batches will be packaged in both blisters and bottles, that's what you're saying?
Yes.
So then one exhibit batch should be fully packaged, however you're going to do that. So if it's that exhibit batch has both blisters and bottles, then that batch has to be fully packaged with both container closure.
But we also have the situation where it's a dose proportional, so there's multiple strengths from one master blend. Is that, and I assume we just submit a CC, but I was wondering what the overall feeling is from FDA on that.
So are you going to bracket some, or if you're bracketing some, then the bracketed ones doesn't count. But for the ones that you're submitting stability on, one of those exhibit batches has to be fully packaged.
Per strength?
Say it again.
Per strength?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Second question in-house, please.
Okay. Hi. So we had an issue on demonstrating the equivalence on the non-complex project, but the demonstration of the approach is kind of complicated. We do understand that in this case is that it might not specifically qualify for all and it will depend on the department's resources if it's capable to answer these kind of questions. We did try to attempt on, and furthermore, there's no PSG issued, and also that's not in the upcoming list. We do consider that is not complex due to the nature of itself. We did attempt to file a pre-dev meeting, but it was rejected because it's not considered as a complex project. We do understand that. Furthermore, we did try with the CEC. Consider of the complex of the question, it was quite briefly mentioned. It is answered, but we have some doubts on that. In this further cases, it's my only option, just continue with an ENDA submission with this current approach.
So if it's a non-complex product and they had decided it was not able to be submitted as a control, I think that there's a, it was answered, just not sufficient. Yeah. If you have new questions, so a non-complex product could be granted at a product development meeting depending on the types of questions. So if those questions are more appropriate for control, then they would be, you should submit them as a control correspondence. The only way, sorry.
Somebody's drilling upstairs, apparently.
Yeah. So I think if meeting is denied, they would tell you to submit a control correspondence if that was appropriate.
Okay, understood.
You okay? Thank you. Before we go to the online questions, I do want to say if you're holding your questions because you think you're going to catch them at the networking event tonight, that may not be true. They may not all be there. So please get your questions in when you can. Let's go online, please.
Right, our next online question is from Marcia. Can controlled correspondence be submitted for inquiries related to post-approval changes for an approved ANDA?
Thank you for the question. So control correspondence may be submitted for post-approved ANDAs related to, what was the latter part?
Changes for an approved ANDA.
Post-approval changes for an approved ANDA, yes, may be submitted as control correspondence.
Thank you. In-house question, sir?
An RLD that's been approved and available since 1973. The active has remained unchanged. In 1997, it's LIO. The active is LIO. In 1997, they changed the diluent and discontinued the original formula, the original presentation, but the active is unchanged. We would like to use the existing active as our RLD. This has been, there was Federal Register notice that the product was discontinued, but it still had an excellent safety profile. We believe this is a controlled correspondence communication to whom, and am I correct in thinking that that's controlled correspondence?
Thank you for your question. You said, can you submit that as a control correspondence? Is that your question?
We think it's controlled correspondence, but what type and to whom? Should it be to your group? Should it?
It can come to our group. That's a no RLD, right? RLD not available control correspondence?
Correct. The RLD that we will be referencing is because it was discontinued, but the active is the same as what is currently out there, just a different diluent.
Yes, it can come to our group, or you can also send it to the Orange Book group as well.
Can you repeat that answer, please, because of the drilling?
Oh, repeat. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yes, I said for a no RLD control correspondence, you can send it to our group, Office of Pharmaceutical Quality. You can also send it to the Office of the Orange Book office in OGD, and we work together with those ones, the ones we cannot answer, we send it to them. So either one would be fine.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question in-house, please.
So control correspondence guideline says that CC cannot be submitted for the impurity limit. Recently, FDA has published a guideline for the ophthalmic drug products quality considerations, which have given some new thresholds for the qualification and unknown impurities. So if you have any concern, like should we follow the quality consideration of ophthalmic guidelines, or can we follow the ICH criteria still? Can we do CC for that?
Kindly repeat your question.
Yes,
for me. I didn't get it.
sure, nobody. So there is a new guideline came recently for the ophthalmic quality consideration, which has defined qualification threshold and identification thresholds, which are different than the ICH guidelines threshold. So like if any product is under development, it was with the ICH requirements, but now new guideline came up. So to get the clarification on the specification limit, that should we go for the updated guideline or the still ICH is valid? For that, can we submit CC or it will be like a rejection?
You can submit a CC. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it says
to
that-
find out which guidance to use since there's a new one out. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
Yes, you can submit a control correspondence.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next question online, please.
This question is for Zhen Zhang. If we had submitted a controlled correspondence for a topical product, can we submit an ANDA before receiving the response from the agency?
Sorry, can you repeat? I cannot hear.
Sure, I'll repeat that. If we had submitted a controlled correspondence for a topical product, can we submit an ANDA before receiving the response from the agency?
Yeah, in that case, you have to withdraw the control correspondence.
Okay, nothing else in-house. Next online, please.
Okay, sure. Another question for Marcia. Is it mandatory under GDF 3 to submit a cover letter attachment to a controlled correspondence?
Thank you for the question. No, that is optional. The cover letter attachment is optional and it should not replace the cover letter. So you have the option to submit both the cover letter and the cover letter attachment, or you can just submit the cover letter without the cover letter attachment. It can serve as a checklist to make sure that you've included all the information, but it does not substitute the cover letter.
Thank you for that very explicit answer there. Next online, please.
Sure. This question is for Karen. For a parenteral product, if the RLD has a pharmacy bulk package, but not an imaging bulk package, and the generic sponsor wishes to introduce an imaging bulk package, is this a question for a controlled correspondence or a suitability petition?
Please repeat the question one more time.
Sure. For a parenteral product, if the RLD has a pharmacy bulk package, but not an imaging bulk package, and the generic sponsor wishes to introduce an imaging bulk package, is this a question for a controlled correspondence or a suitability petition?
You could submit that as a control.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Karen?
That could be submitted as control correspondence.
Suitability?
No, control correspondence.
Control correspondence. Okay. Oh, we have another brave soul. Well, this soul has been very brave throughout the day. Question in-house, please, after the drilling has stopped. Okay, let's see if we could get that question in.
So this is for one of the product which is under development and have some impurity concern, but RLD is like in the RX category, but we are not able to get the sample from the market. And there is no other generic approved in the market. So to resolve the impurity issue, what should be the way forward?
Please come again one more time.
Yes, yeah. So this is for the product which is under development and that has one impurity issue, like it's crossing the ICH qualification limit. So as per MAPP, it says that the easiest way to justify the impurity limit is to compare your result with the RLD result. But RLD is not available in the market. I am not able to get the sample from the market. So how to get or what sample should I request, or what should be the way forward to resolve this issue?
I think my advice would be to submit a control correspondence and the experts will look at it and respond.
Okay, so as part of that control correspondence, what data should be needed? Like, because it will not have can I submit the safety data as part of CC?
Just submit your question with everything, every data that supports your question or background to your question, as much background as you can give possibly with your question.
Okay,
Yes.
Thank you.
Second, and so that you do have a question. Thank you. It's more fun when you get your own question answered, isn't it?
Yeah, quick question in relation to proper calculation of MDE. So we recently encountered a situation where we received feedback and the agency calculated an MDE based on a withdrawn indication. So we were wondering if we could get sort of the agency, agency feedback on what legal basis there is to calculate an MDE based on an indication that no longer appears on the labeling. And how we could potentially follow up on that to get that addressed.
Yeah, scientifically, we should use, first of all, I'm not aware of your case. So scientifically, we should use most current indication to calculate MDE. But if you don't agree with our responses or have any questions, you can have a follow-up control correspondence submitted to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Online, please.
We have a question for Maria. If I have additional questions that were not addressed during my meeting, can I submit a controlled correspondence or new meeting request?
Thank you for that question. Yes, so if you have additional questions following your product development meeting, you may submit a controlled correspondence or a subsequent meeting. However, we do recommend one pre-ANDA development meeting a year because the subsequent one should have new questions with new data or information. Thank you.
Okay, next online question, please.
Sure, question for Hiren. Based on your presentation, the qualification criteria for post-CRL scientific meeting requests under FDA's judgment are very broad. Would you please provide some insights on what falls under FDA's judgment?
Thank you for the question. I think as rightly mentioned in the question, it may be very broad in nature. There is no explicit list on what falls under FDA's judgment. I would say there are several factors that are taken into consideration to possibly broaden the scope of post-CRL scientific MR to help industry. And I just want to say that, there are representatives from multiple offices are involved in making the decision of grant and deny across the application to assure we are making a consistent decision on that. And I want to go back to my presentation. I think I mentioned then, and again, this is my personal opinion that, factors like an alternative approach or a multiple equation or complex issue which require inter and intra-office collaboration, or as well as like we heard some of the presentation this morning, a drug shortage issue, public health emergency. Those are the factors that we take into consideration under that category called FDA's judgment. So I just want to reiterate that these are not the sole factor and it's on a case-by-case basis, but these are some of the factors that we do take into consideration to grant the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Next online question, please.
Thank you. Another question for Marcia. When a pH waiver is submitted to FDA for review as a controlled correspondence, will FDA classify the controlled correspondence as a level 1 change?
To clarify the question, thank you for it. For pH waivers that are submitted, will the control correspondence answer the question designating it whether it's a level 1 change? So they're asking for the answer to the code. I'm unable to answer that at this time. I would recommend that they either email generic drugs at fda.hhs or submit that specific question with their control correspondence, because I wouldn't be able to provide the answer on how it would be designated.
Thank you. Online question, please.
Okay. All right, we have another question for Marcia as well. At times, we follow the FDA guidance, but our controlled correspondence is not considered substantive and is rejected when a minor typographical error is made. Is there a way to amend a controlled correspondence rejected for minor errors? Note the information is accurately entered in CDER NextGen.
Thank you for the question. So the latter part, you said what is in the CDER NextGen portal? What part? It is correct in the CDER NextGen portal?
Yes, the information is accurately entered in CDER NextGen.
But the documents submitted have typographical errors.
Yeah, minor typographical errors made.
Right, and so the approach for amending it to me just seems like resubmitting it. So yes, we welcome for you to resubmit it with the correction. So I apologize for the inconvenience, but we just want to ensure that the reviewers have accurate information and we serve as the gatekeepers in that respect. So I apologize, but I would say the amendment would serve as the resubmission, and we do welcome that. Thank you.
Thank you. Online question?
Okay. We'll do another question for Maria. If I did not have a product development meeting, and want to present a novel idea to FDA, can I still submit a pre-submission request?
Thank you for that question. Yes, you may still submit a piece of meeting request if you did not have a product development meeting, but just as a reminder, you need to, as part of your package, include why the PSUB should be granted, and the grant decision would be at FDA's judgment. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope these questions and answers are resonating with you, everyone online and in-house as well, and they are really helping everyone, even though it's not something that you specifically asked. Next online question, please.
Okay. We have a question for Zhen. What occurs if an applicant addresses a controlled correspondence to an incorrect discipline?
Yeah, so first of all, we highly recommend that applicants to get familiar with discipline review responsibilities described in the guidance, and also write clear and concise questions in the control. We do understand in some scenarios, questions may be difficult for applicants to identify the most appropriate review disciplines. In those cases, we do have internal triage process to handle those situations. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. We have time for one more online question.
Okay. Question for Jen. How many batches of drug products should be tested for split portions of scored tablets?
1 batch.
That was the shortest and sweetest answer. Okay, so we are getting ready to break. Thank you all for your questions and for the panelists. Before we scatter, for those of you who are parked in the hotel's garage, if you did not get your voucher, which allows you to get a discount and that means you only pay $10 as opposed to $27, I believe, ask at the registration desk outside. And so let's break now. We will return at 3:05. Thank you. A big round of applause for our panelists. You guys are marvelous.